Hi people, I really have to watch the time limit. First of all, let me remind people that are watching this video, this is second in a series, and they're done in 10-minute segments, broken down, and I'm trying to talk a little bit slower so that people are able to catch. Good recommendation to have a pen and piece of paper handy and your mouse over top of the pause button so you can put this and go back and write down scriptures later on at the end of the videos, end of the series. You can come back and review it, as well as do searches on your favorite online Bible or get your own thesaurus or concordance and look up the word vis-a-vis a cornerstone or Yeshua or justified or any of the other subjects we're going to be talking about here in the next while. Also, I've been noticing something on YouTube that video 1 will have 5 and video 2 maybe 3 and then video 4 maybe 9. People, I appreciate that you follow me, but you're not getting the whole idea by going straight to the end or at the beginning and skipping. I would like it not just for numbers' sake, but for your own personal study, that you view video A through Z, whatever it is. These are broken down, and I'm trying to talk slower so you're able to write down, pause these videos, and get the gist of what I'm talking about. That's why they're broken down this way. It's a little bit unique for me. I've had a lot of complaints in the past that I talk too fast. Usually it's because I'm trying to get everything I got to say in one 10-minute video. This is one circumstance in this classic situation where it's more important for me to get the root of the message out than trying to get everything else, the whole topic out in one video. So I've broken these down in several little videos so you can pause, write, and if you want to do research before you progress to the next level, you could do so. This is called good rabbinical training. And I'm following my own rules. People who get me live know that I insist on having pens and papers and Bibles handy, and that you take a note. And if you miss something, you can always come to me afterwards and ask. And if you miss something, you don't understand something, my email is out there. Write me. I'm very open to answering. If you're on my Facebook, send me a message, send me a ping, whatever it is. Poke me. Let me know you have a question, and I'd be happy to answer. Also, so we're going to start this series now, and this one is called Justified. As in all studies, I like a good dictionary definition. I don't do by assumption. There are a lot of thought and theology out there by Christian groups who are well-meaning, who take a word such as justified and do an exaltation on it, and that's all fine, and I'm not going to condemn them, but I prefer to go by what the dictionary definition is, and by that word we have an understanding where my thought comes from. One guy turned around and said justified means that God looks at me just as if I'd never sinned. For a while I bought into that theology, but as I did research, he doesn't see me as if I've never sinned, because he can see the sin. Put yourself in the young boy who goes out to play and he falls in the mud puddle. And he's coated from top to head. He's just filthy, he's gucky, he's muddy, and he comes into the house and mom freaks. Don't you go into this house with those shoes. You get those shoes off, get your pants off. You get into that bathroom right away, or I'm going to smack you. Daniel, will you do something about your sons? Out comes father, right? What are you going to do? On the one part, you have this pitiful boy who's crying. He's fallen down. He's hurt himself. Versus he's muddy and you don't really want to touch him. He's dirty. Okay, boo-boo. But the time for now isn't so much that he isn't dirty. The time is now he's feeling some pain and he needs some comforting. He's got yelled at by his mom. Maybe he tripped. It wasn't necessarily his own fault. Maybe he was careless and it was somewhat his own fault. We don't know this whole circumstance, and we need to get down to his level to find out what happened here. So dad takes himself with his brand new suit and he gets down on his knees and he reaches out and he gives him a great big hug. Is the child clean? No. He still needs to get out of those dirty clothes. He needs to go into the washroom. He needs to run himself a nice warm bath, get in and scrub himself from top to feet. so that everybody could see now he's a clean boy. Is he clean? No, his clothes are still dirty. He needs to get fresh clothes and put them on. So is the process with salvation. So is the process with justification. We fall sometimes through not so necessarily our own fault. We get caught up in the moment. A lot of times when my children got in trouble, I was able to remember my own life and be able to sit down and go, well, let me see. This looked like fun at the time. Yes, Daddy. I've been there. I get in trouble all the time with stuff that looked like fun all the time. That's part of being a child nature. It's part of our exploratory, particularly if you're a boy. So what are you going to do about it? I ask. And usually my sons will come and tell me, well, I don't think it's so much fun anymore. Oh, we've learned something. And this is the process of sometimes what sin and circumstance bring on us, to learn to improve what it was in the Torah or in the scriptures to help us advance, become a better person. We aren't getting it. Yes, we like to talk about it, but until we actually experience it and understand what that's all about. It's kind of like as a teenage boy, somewhat still yet today. I'm walking down the street and a beautiful lady walks in front of me. But the Torah says I'm not supposed to lust. But the little thought that comes in my head as I admire her beauty can tantamount to lust. So I have to take myself, bath myself, wash myself of that thought, and train to keep my eyes focused. Do you ever notice around ultra-Orthodox rabbis, when a woman walks into the congregation or even in front of them down the road, all right, who's immorally dressed by their standards, they will cover their eyes and turn their heads. It's an idea. We look at that and say it's all religiosity and it's all part of legalism. But in a sense, how much trouble could we get if we just covered our eyes and turned away? We wouldn't have had those thoughts, wouldn't have had those ideas, we wouldn't have had those principles. So justified means, in the Webster, defines justify as basically as to be just, to be right, to be validated, to be declared guiltless. So to receive a not guilty thing in the court of law, even to a point of probation, right, takes a load off. Probation isn't necessarily getting a guilty situation. You're not going to jail, you're not paying a full penalty, but you're letting loose into the community, providing you meet certain standards and circumstances. We get a lot of probation in our walk of the Nazarene faith, as well as in Christianity, simply by performing a form of mikvah, or sometimes a form of atonement, or taking things and saying, how can I make this right? And consulting with the party offended and saying, how can I make this right with you? It is one thing to be just and stand for what is truth, but it's also another thing, sometimes people in their own minds, an unconscious action can be just as offensive as a conscious one. Anyway, we're going to continue more into this thought. Stay tuned for part 2.